Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak, and this is the Stuff I Heard. Let's talk about some stuff I heard. I just want to jump right into it. We are in the later part of June. No, we're not. We're in January. What am I saying? You ever been in the middle of a thought and your brain goes off in a different direction? That's exactly what happened just now. That's the craziest thing ever. So anyway, it is January 2022, and there's an election today. There's an election because Senator Hugh Leathern passed away. And we have a few candidates that are out there that everybody knows the name of. The top two that I hear from people talking is a guy named Mike Rickenbaugh and a guy named Jay Jordan. I have not voted. I don't know really anything about these candidates other than the fact that Mike Rickenbaugh owns the local Ford dealership, and Jay Jordan has been working in something with politics in our town. I don't know. I feel uninformed. I feel like I have not studied for a test. And therefore, I am choosing not to vote in this election. Instead, I'm going to let people vote that have participated. I don't want to just throw a vote out there when I don't know anything about what's going on. I've been hearing a lot of people have conversations lately about their politics and their issues. And the more I hear about it, the more I think I really don't care. And I know that sounds odd. And I know we all say that. And in our hearts, we go, I don't care, but I do. And I'm not immune to that. Similarly, like I want to give a shit. I want to care about what's going on. I want to know what's going on, and I want to be able to have my voice heard in some way. And I guess in a way that's why I have this podcast, is to sort of do that, to have that voice. But I don't know exactly how to do that correctly. And I don't know that any of us do. I think we're all navigating this together and we're all trying to figure this out together. So, I guess what I'm saying is, if you have politics going on in your area and you want to learn about it, try to learn about it as much as you can. Talk to people, debate about it, figure it out before you go to the polls. Don't just go there and be like, A, B, B, A, C, A, B, B, A. Don't answer questions that you don't know the answer to. And if you don't know the answer, ask. There's people there you can talk to and ask. They're not allowed to give you their opinion on what you should do. They're just there to give you the facts. Hopefully that's the case. So anyway, I do want to talk about some things that I heard. I know this is kind of early in the week, and I normally only do these on the weekends here lately because of my schedule. But this being the winter, our work is slowed down a little bit, and I have a little extra time on my hands. So I was able to watch a few things the last couple of days, not to mention the fact that I got to see some really great football. There were 4 really good games on TV. Probably the best game of all was the Bills versus the Chiefs. I was secretly pulling for the Bills because there's a guy I work with, a guy named Josh Reed, who's a big fan of the Bills, and it's made me pay a little more attention to them this year. And I've been super impressed with the team, and I really thought that their momentum was going to carry them in. And the game against the Chiefs came down to the wire, and the Bills lost to the Chiefs at the last bit. And it was an exciting finish. It was probably one of the best games I've seen all year. So shout out to the Bills for giving it a really great try. Obviously the Chiefs won and they'll move on to the next round, but man, good football to watch. But anyway, I did see a movie with my wife, being the Ricardos. Now this was Nicole Kidman playing Lucille Ball and Javier Bardem playing her husband. So the show, my mom asked me, she says, was it good? And my first reaction is no. It was done well. The story is sad. The story is not a feel-good movie. It is about Lucille Ball. It is a pivotal time in history where you have a woman who was trying to break into the industry from all fronts that you see, of being like the lead lady. when television really didn't have leading lady TV shows. I mean, I think she was probably the first woman to have her own lead TV show named after her as a weekly TV show. And it was the most popular TV show of the time. Today's standards, which they say this on the movie, is that a popular show today would get about 12 million views per week. When Lucille Ball came out, it got 60 million views. There wasn't a lot of options of channels to watch, but people loved to watch her. And it doesn't take long for you to figure out why. Now, me personally, I was a huge fan of Lucille Ball when I was a kid. Obviously, she was popular in the 50s and I was born in 74. So I watched the reruns, but I loved it. I loved Lucy. I like to watch every episode. As long as they keep playing them, I kept watching them. And it didn't take much for me not to give a crap about this woman who was phenomenal in her own right. She was hilarious. She had physical comedy. She was very quick-witted. She had good banter with her husband. Desi Arnaz was a big hit all by himself as a musician and as an entertainer. And you see in this movie, there's a bit of back and forth and a flashback showing how she got started, how he basically helped her get to the forefront of what people see. But it goes back to the beginning of her saying to him, the one thing that I want is a family. I want a family. And you learn why as you, I guess, do some research on your own. You find out what her family life was like. And I can see how she wanted a family. She talks openly in the movie. I mean, obviously it's not her, it's Nicole Kidman playing her, but she tells someone, she's like, I've done this. I was a model. I moved into being an actor. I had a contract with a company. I did what they asked me to do. Somewhere along the way, someone decided that I wasn't going to be the leading lady. So I'm just doing whatever roles are sent my way. And it didn't take long for Desi to realize that she wasn't just a leading lady. She was phenomenal. And the show, I Love Lucy, carried into that. They keep doing this flashback and flash forward, which was a little confusing, especially if you're halfway paying attention. I think my wife was looking at her phone and she kept going, are they in the past now or they're in the, is it now? And I'm like, they're in the past now. Oh, okay. Because they keep doing these flashback things of showing how she got started and what her struggles were getting into the business and that sort of thing. And then they were going forward to the point of them shooting an episode that I guess was very controversial because it dealt with divorce. It was dealing with the fact that their friends, Fred and Ethel on the show, were, talking about splitting up and they were trying to get them back together. And there's supposed to be this big scene where they're sitting around a table and Fred and Ethel were supposedly tricked into sitting around each other again and being friends. And Lucy was pivotal in writing the scene that ended up being what they were going to do, sitting at the table, elbowing each other, trying to get comfortable and that sort of thing. And they were also dealing with the fact that she was pregnant and they were going to come out and basically have the first pregnant woman on television. Matter of fact, they made a point that they wanted to say that she was pregnant, but they never actually said it. The stat came up later saying they never mentioned the word pregnant ever. But the CBS group and all of the sponsors really believed that they were going to not have viewers, that they were going to push viewers away by having a pregnant woman on TV. They thought no one wants to see this. Kids don't need to see this. It's inappropriate. And Lucy was sticking to her guns of her and Desi both were like, we are going to show this. This is what happens. This is part of life. This is part of who we are. And the birth of Little Ricky was like the most watched television show of the time. When that episode came out, they had the most views ever. So they really didn't miss a lot when it came to the show. There was a trial that went on apparently where she was accused of being a communist. There was a big debate over the fact that she was a younger lady at a time and she went to a rally with her grandfather and was, sort of talked into joining the Communist Party back when it was seen as an ideal thing to do. And, this was during the time where communism was seen as something evil, to the point that we were at war with Russia, and if you were seen as a communist, you got blackballed out of Hollywood. And you're talking about someone who had the biggest show on television, and the newspapers were coming out saying she's a communist. The newspapers also were saying that Desi was sleeping around, and the communist part ended up being sort of true, but not true, because she went through a trial hearing, and J. Edgar Hoover apparently on the phone announced to a crowd of people that she was cleared of all charges, sort of green lighting her to be able to have her career at that point. But also they were sort of true about the inappropriateness of her husband, and it led to their divorce. So I mean, it wasn't a feel good movie. I thought Nicole Kidman did a great job of playing Lucy. She looks a lot like Lucy, the way they did her up and in her hair, and just her mannerisms and expressions were really good. I mean, she is a great actress. Javier Bardem was really good as Desi. It's really hard to capture the guy that Desi was, but I think he did a good job. But anyway, it's on Amazon Prime if you're interested in watching it. Search for Being the Ricardos. It's pretty good. Okay, so let's talk about another movie, or show, I should say. Afterlife. 2 words, Afterlife. This is a show on Netflix, 3rd and final season, Ricky Gervais. And it is a show about a guy who's in the first episode of the first season, his wife passes away, and she has cancer, and he's devastated to the point that he's really thinking about killing himself. He looks at his sadness and his outlook on that he didn't want to live anymore as sort of a superpower, that he could then tell everybody exactly what he's thinking without even worrying about their feelings. He could just say whatever he's thinking all the time. And it turns out to be kind of funny, kind of hurtful, and sometimes kind of lovely, because in it, he's watching videos through the episodes on his laptop of his wife. Basically, he recorded her, or she recorded herself giving like a diary on screen for him to remember her by. And he's got a dog to take care of, and he's just learning to live every day past this. And he's incredibly sad, and he's trying to deal with the passing of his wife. And it's tender, and it's loving, and it's just beautiful. The 3rd and final season was exactly what I hoped it would be. It's just the only word I could use for it is lovely. It's lovely. You got to watch it. If you have ever dealt with the passing of someone that you love, if you're dealing with something like this, if you're grieving in any way, I think that watching Afterlife would help. So go check that out. It's available on Netflix. It's really great. I also watched the Ozarks. The final season of Ozarks is going to be broken up into 2 parts. The first part had 7 episodes, and it's just a phenomenal show. It's very intense. There's a lot of violence. This is some of the best television that's out, except for the fact that it's just so violent. I mean, they're dealing with drug cartels and laundering money and corruption and murder and all kinds of awful things. But the way the show is done is intense and uncomfortable and makes me nervous watching it. I watched them today, and when I got done, I had to take a shower because I was sweaty. I was just like, man, holy crap, this is intense. I don't want to give anything away. I want people to watch it, enjoy it. And there's going to be a second part to the final season. So I'm encouraging people to watch that as well. I'd love to talk about it with somebody who's watched it. It's really cool. The casting in it is great. The acting is great. The storyline is just fast paced tempo. Even when things seem like they're going slow, they're not, because there's so much happening. And I think that when this show is over, they're going to look back and say that this is Jason Bateman's opus. This is the best thing he's done. Just like Afterlife, I think Afterlife will people will look at that and they'll say, this is Ricky Gervais's perfect project. I mean, both of these actors are really involved in the writing, the directing, the producing, everything. And it's just, it shows on screen. It's sort of like, to me, it's like owning a restaurant. If you own a restaurant and you're working the restaurant every day, the restaurant strives because you care. It's the same thing with any project. I can't help but think that it's everybody's project. If it's a small, you know, I don't know, you name it. Someone's got a small pop-up craft store, or a coffee shop that they love, or they're making music and traveling and singing their music and writing their music and playing their music. If it's something you care about, then it does translate. It does show through to everybody watching and participating, and it just makes it more precious. So yeah, I also watched a movie called it's called Nobody. Bob Odenkirk, which everybody knows from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Basically, someone wrote a story and made Bob Odenkirk like John Wick. That's my boiled down version of this. Yeah. So Bob Odenkirk just looks like a normal guy, right? And in the movie, he turns into John Wick. So there's that. It was fun. It was violent, very, very violent. I like Bob Odenkirk. I think he's a really great actor. I just think that I think this was perfect for him to play. I think that if he read the script and they were like, listen, we had you in mind for this, he's like, that sounds really cool. I'd like to do it. Who wouldn't want to do it? Who wouldn't want to be like a John Wick character who's just a total badass? You go around kicking the crap out of the bad guys right and left. Christopher Lloyd is in this. RZA is in this from Wu-Tang. Just fun cast, fun bad guys. Even the bad guys were, comically bad guys. I don't know. I had more fun with it, I think, than I should have. But yeah, it was fun. But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick podcast today to talk about sort of what everybody's going through right now. The holidays are over. We're getting back on the swing of things. The summer's approaching. I know it seems like it's far away. Right now it's January, but this is the time of year that we prepare, especially in the South. If you live up north, whenever the summer is there, you just prepare for the winter. Well, down here, whenever it's wintertime, we prepare for the summer. So like I'm thinking about, stuff to do with the air conditioner, and I'm thinking about what repairs do I need to do while the weather is not super hot. There are things I need to fix. Is there things I need to prepare for? Maybe I should go around and recaulk the windows, and, I don't know. There's always something that you got to prepare for. So with it being January, my mind is towards that. Also, Valentine's Day is coming up. My wife and I typically don't do a lot of fancy stuff for Valentine's because we like to save our money for big trips. We do have a big trip planned, and we're super excited about it. It's coming later this year, but all of our energy, focus, and money is towards that right now. So, in the meanwhile, it's kind of just going to work and doing our thing and whatever, and getting through the days like everybody else. But I just wanted to say I was thinking about you guys, and I wanted to do a podcast real quickly to talk about some of these hit shows that are out right now, and I'm enjoying them. I hope you are too. I feel silly doing these midweek right now because I am working so much, but I got lucky today. I didn't have to work today. So small blessings, paying it forward, and I hope everybody's doing well. If you enjoyed this podcast, want to be a part of it, let me know. Please reach out. www.stuffiheard.com is the website. All the episodes are there, merch, all that fun stuff. And there's a little page on there where you can drop a line and say howdy. But anyway, if you enjoyed this, please remember to rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends. And as always, cue the cow.
So I want you guys to give me more likes. Give me more likes.